Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jack Ford. It's a scourge that seems to escape federal, state, and city law. And every few months, news reports break out about dozens of New Yorkers making trips to the emergency room due to its deadly mix. It is called K2, among other terms, and overdoses are skyrocketing. Sold sometimes as incense, sometimes branded as synthetic marijuana. It is anything but that. It is literally a trash can mix of chemicals sprayed on a variety of leaves. To combat the drug, the federal authorities have banned some 400 variations of it, and city officials have already banned it in New York. But the overdoses keep on coming. So what do we do to stop the epidemic? Well, Andy King is one council member from the Bronx who is indeed fighting back. He recently led a K2 awareness building march through what is known as Ground Zero for K2 in the Bronx, an area that's been dubbed Zombieland. And he's here to discuss what he's doing, why, and his next step. Councilmember, nice to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Let's talk a little bit more about this K2.
Well, I say to everyone, they need to understand and educate themselves. And the person that's stuck using it, that we need to save them from themselves right now. I believe there's a concerted effort on all communities when this drug was, created. And actually, that's what it is. It's just a set of chemicals that have been created in a lab, placed on greenery, and then marketed as marijuana. Whether you call it synthetic marijuana, you're still giving it a term that people are used to understanding and appreciating. Marijuana is something that's naturally grown, and the tetrachloride that's inside of it, the THC that's in it, that allows the state of, that touches the senses, whether it's your memory or your activity or your appetite. These things are natural occurrences that come from THC as well as anaconazide, also, which is produced by the body, which creates this state of euphoria. So when someone says, hey, we want to create something because marijuana might be a little bit too costly, or why? Because marijuana is illegal, how do we do something that still targets the young child or targets the person who's already in stress to keep them in a state of euphoria, that dysfunction? So when this drug is created, and everyone needs to understand, it is no different than someone taking rat poison Clorox and putting it in and shaking it up in some water.
It's just chemicals.
And just spraying it on some greenery and saying smoke it or inhale it. So it's just like,
And yet people are not just willing, but in many instances, as I said, it's almost an epidemic. People are saying, great, give me it. I will take it, and I'll smoke it, I'll ingest it. But how do we get the message across? You should not be indulging in this because this is really dangerous.
There has to be millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, invested in a real advertising, educational campaign. If every time they want to market anything, whether they want to market some shoes, or they want to market Vision Zero, or we just want to market a new Metro card, there was a concerted effort of real investments that put in. So if the system is truly committed to getting people off, then you got to advertise what it is, what it does, what is its effects, and not trick people up with potato and potato, because potato is not a potato.
Exactly.
Right?
And you say synthetic marijuana, most people are saying, okay, marijuana, in some places it's actually legal in this country now, so I'm going to indulge in some of that. But it's not that.
It's not a marijuana. It is chemicals that are sprayed on. And the sad thing is that the greenery that they put it on, they could just grab some greenery, whether it's shrubs from someone's backyard or something out in the woods. You have no idea once that chemical mix with whatever that shrubbery is, what you're going to be ingesting.
That's just a vehicle to hold these chemicals.
Exactly. And in some cases,
a delivery system, if you will.
And you're absolutely right. In some cases, it's not even, they put it in the vapors. And people smoke the liquid just as it is. So that just tells you, people, that it's not a real thing. And even the gentleman who created said, is not made for human consumption. So why would anyone play Russian roulette with their lives by digesting and putting it in their system? Well, if you've been caught in the grips of addiction, if you've been caught in life that's horrible, then your escape to reality, every time they put out some new drug, I'll just double back. We are experiencing right now what we experienced in the 70s with PCP. angel dust.
Angel dust.
When people couldn't
And
grab it.
those of us around, I was a prosecutor back then in the 70s
Exactly.
with angel dust, and you'd get the people who were doing things, the term was they were dusted.
Yeah, they're dusty,
Right?
yeah.
And they're doing crazy things, and you're saying, how would they do that because of the impact of the PCP?
Exactly, and that's been illegal, and we know that you can't use that anymore, just like you're not supposed to use the drugs that are in the combination of various combinations of K2.
Talk about the legislation that you want to get out on this.
We have to be good neighbors, and that goes from the store owner to the landlord. The legislation that I am proposing right now will hold landlords accountable. As we've done our research and we've done our work, we understand that throughout the city of New York, you have a number of landlords who own large blocks of property in the city of New York. In my district alone, it's probably about a good 5 to 7 individuals who own a lot of the commercial strips. It's not like and the store owners or store renters, shall we say, are just renting from the property owners, which may be, and they might live in Long Island, they might live in China, they might live in California, they might live every place else other than in the neighborhood that they own the property. So you no longer have the luxury of reaping the benefits of a store owner.
So make them accountable for what's going on their property.
Yeah, definitely.
The sales.
We got reports that some of the storefronts were paying $7,000 a rent a month, $7,000 a month a rent. There's no way by selling sodas and sandwiches that you're going to make $7,000 to pay rent, as well as keep the lights on, as well as pay the people who work in it. There's no way you can do that. So that means there's some other activity happening. See, NYPD has been real. I've been working with NYPD, and as much as they've been able to allow to share with all the investigations that we're doing, they've identified a number of the areas. That's why the area that we marched in, which I labeled as zombie land. When you're out there, you can see people who have to digest it. The church is right on that strip. 2 days ago, I got a call, email, and pictures. It was about 40 people smoking, shooting up. And they were just tore up. People go to the bathrooms on the church property. They go to bathrooms on people's property because it's a home. In my district, it's a homeowner's district.
All as a result of their ingestion, their use of this combination of chemicals.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's about cleaning up the neighborhood, taking our neighborhood back, get those people help. But more importantly, if K2 is not being made on 149th Street in Grand Concourse, but is made in China, I'll flip the conversation. I got to ask the question of the Trump administration, the federal drug regulations that we have, and protecting our borders for drugs coming, as opposed to arresting and splitting up families of mothers and children. What are we doing about the K2, which we know China is a big producer of K2? How does it get into the United States?
Councilmember, nice to see you, to have you
Thank
here,
you.
and hopefully we'll talk with you down the road and see how this is all working out.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You be well.
God bless.